Hello, welcome to the Reloading Podcast here on the Firearms Radio Network, presented by Patriot Patch Company. Camarada, how's everybody? Well,
Hanging in there.
Just you and me tonight. It looks like
Yeah. Yep.
Nick and Ray are MIA. Jim's not feeling well. Sharenda's lost in traffic somewhere. So
He said she's going to be on, but I'm not going to hold my breath.
no. So I mean, it's KC traffic. So how bad can it be? It's not like it's Chicago for crying out loud.
You got it. I mean, or LA. Can you imagine?
I've
Being in
never,
LA?
I've never had the pleasure of driving in LA traffic. I've heard horror stories. I've had the pleasure of driving in Chicago traffic way too many times.
Yeah, but LA beats it.
Yeah.
But then again, you put one accident on one of the expressways, and that's
Oh,
it.
good grief.
Yeah.
I can remember literally sitting on the Dan Ryan in one spot for an hour one day.
Yeah. Yep.
So, no thanks. We'll pass.
New York. Oh my
Schroer,
gosh. Oh,
Schroer said try New York. No.
yeah.
Nope. Not trying New York. I don't want to go. I don't want New York. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'd imagine they're in there too. But
Do they even drive in New York?
I think it's mostly cabs.
Yeah, I thought so too. Yeah. Cabs and subway.
I don't know if they're allowed to. It's like guns. I don't think they're allowed to have cars in New York City.
That's true. I think you're right.
So, because I remember how big of a deal it was when Kramer got a car on Seinfeld. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a huge deal. So, so. Well, Raggle Fraggle, in your case, your entire body. Now that you've come out of hibernation, you need a bath, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, he said Six Pack Project said you haven't tried Boston traffic in the Five Corners. No thanks.
Yeah. Well, I've tried Chicago traffic at the Five Corners, and I can tell you that's not good either.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I will. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
That's why if I know I'm going to wind up going through Chicago in rush hour, I go all the way down to 80, and it's still not very good.
Yeah. Well, if you're going through Chicago and you're going into Indiana,
Yeah.
I got places where I go past 80 because it's just 80 is crazy.
Yeah, 80 is still bad. So
Yeah. So it just just keep right on going, guys. Go a little farther south, hit some of the side roads, and you can make just as good a time.
yeah,
Uh,
just
but
don't get off in the
six.
south side of Chicago. There's certain areas in the south side of Chicago you should not go if you're white.
Yeah. Anything below the 38th or 39th Street.
Yeah.
You don't want to get off.
No, you don't want to be there if you're white.
Yeah. And
No matter how much body armor and how much armor on your vehicle.
now I've had to go down there a couple of times because that's where the University of Chicago Hospital is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's off of 79th Street. And that's
Yeah, no. I mean, 30 years ago, I was down there and I watched these two white vans pull up and literally strip a 70s Fleetwood in a minute. We're talking body panels, motor, tranny, seats, dash, like 15 guys in like a minute.
Yeah.
So,
Jeez.
yeah.
Jack it up. throw the concrete blocks under it. And
Yep.
next thing you know, it's gone.
The one van, they had a cherry picker on a rail system that was attached to the ceiling, so they just slid it right out, dropped it, plucked the motor and the tranny right out.
And they don't usually care. I mean, that's usually just a sawzall to cut the drive shaft and the more motor mounts, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep. So. Yeah, they're professionals. Yeah, clean. But anyway, so they were cleaning.
Yeah.
So all I've been up to pretty much is work. So,
Well,
how about you?
I
You got some new stuff.
I invested. I got some new bullets here. I got some 22 caliber ELDX 73 grain bullets,
Mm-hmm.
and then a small box of TTSX 62 grain 22 caliber bullets to play with.
So in other words, you followed this instruction here.
Yeah, and then
Invest in precious metals.
and here's the other. This is a bag of 250 Lake City 24 brass.
Nice.
So got to work on some loads there with that, and they keep me busy. So, and hopefully be moving soon. So get my younger daughter into a new house, and then I have the work and put a reloading room there.
There you go. Just have a reloading room at everybody's house.
Yep.
Now we can just travel around.
Yep. Exactly. I'm gonna.
Plus, then you can teach them how to reload for.
Yeah, and it's expensive to build a new reloading room.
Mm-hmm.
I'm putting stuff together for it and my list, and oh my gosh, just the tools that I need are and presses and stuff and dies and everything else.
Well,
I'm not going to take stuff apart in that from down south up here, but yeah, primers at, between $80 and $150 a thou.
Yep.
Powder anywhere from $300 to $600 for 8 pounds. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's and then put another safe in. I got to go buy another safe.
Yep. It's just terrible.
It is. It is.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. So I was thinking of a topic, and I couple weeks ago or a week ago, I tossed out in the Discord about AI and trying to get a list of all of the topics that we've covered for each podcast, so we can kind of get an idea of what we've been covering, and so Garrick kind of did a rough spreadsheet and with kind of a synopsis, but I don't know if AI can do something better or not. The AI kind of plucked. It took the show title and then the show intro that I type up, and then like a couple of things, but it really didn't necessarily
Touch on
kind
the
of.
subject.
Yeah, I mean, I and maybe AI can't. Yeah. So yeah, that's Raggle Fraggle. So
Mhm.
because he's two different people.
Right.
But now I wasn't going to release your secret identity, but since you audited yourself, there you go. But I'm wondering, Raggle Fraggle, is there a way to get deeper into that, or is that kind of all AI is capable of doing? So that's kind of what I'm gonna. It may not be capable, or it may be way too much programming to be worth it. It may be just something that it's easier to just sit down and listen to each podcast. So
Yeah, we're going to listen through 542 podcasts.
yeah. One of the things I am working on trying to get for him is transcripts. So he said that would help a lot. So that's what I'm working on doing, is trying to get some trying to see if I can get transcripts from StreamYard at least. So
Okay.
they kind of had that, but it's the transcript either comes in a text version, a TXT or a VTT, and I forgot to
Okay.
ask him. I forgot to ask him which one would work better, but they're not really formatted well. So,
No.
Raggle, which version would work better for you, a TXT or a VTT? So, so I can go back and download every one. I think all the way back. I'm not sure. I got to look and see
Hmm.
how far back I can go. Oh no, I can't. Never mind. So never mind. I can only go back a couple weeks because I only have so much storage room, and so when I delete out it deletes all of it. So never mind. I retract that. So
How much storage room do you need?
no, StreamYard only gives me 50 hours of storage space.
Ah, got it. Got it.
So,
Yeah.
but anyway,
Okay.
so
Yeah. And 50 hours of
our
live
podcast
broadcast. Yeah.
isn't very
Yep.
long. So,
No.
but anyway, so yeah, Raggle Fraggle, I'll get you what I've got, and then I'll see what I can do for. There's got to be a program out there that I can find that will turn the audio into transcript. And there's got to be a free one out there somewhere. Maybe Apple's got one since I'm on the Mac right now, and if not, then maybe Windows does. I don't know, but anyway, I'll look into that. Not now though. So obviously we know about cleaning brass, but we're going
Sure.
to talk about that too, because so kind of there's a few different ways to clean your brass. One way, which I can't give Jim crap because he's not here, but Jim in his infinite wisdom decided to throw some brass in a bucket of sand.
Right. Yep.
Playground sand.
Yep.
Playground sand.
Yeah. Tough on brass. Yep.
And then strapped it to the wheel of his truck, like you've seen,
Ooh.
and then
Yeah.
drove down the road. It
I hope
did
he
not
didn't go
end well
too
for the
fast.
brass.
Or
I
the
don't know how
truck,
fast
huh?
he went, but it did not end well for the brass. Let's just say that. All of the brass that was in the bucket came out of the bucket and went into a different bucket, the scrap
Yeah.
bucket.
Yeah.
So the absolute cheapest way to clean your brass, just so you can reload it. And the reason we want to clean it is we want to try and get the fouling out of it at least. The absolute cheapest way is going to be some sort of plastic container and some Dawn dish soap and some Lemmy Shine. And the Lemmy Shine's optional depending on how hard your water is, honestly. That's the purpose of the Lemmy Shine for the most part, is it's a citric acid, so it helps with the hard water. It helps with the hard water stains, but also it helps kind of, a little bit. Now, if you put too much Lemmy Shine in, all of a sudden your brass is pink.
And
And
what's
then,
happening there is it's affecting the zinc and the brass, and that's not good for the brass.
no, because if you turn your brass pink, throw it in the scrap bin.
Yeah.
Don't load it, because you might get a load out of it. It might hold together, but it might not.
Yeah.
So it might go kaboom. And we don't like kabooms. I have turned brass pink too, but I've done it on purpose.
Yeah.
However, my ultrasonic cleaner did not like that.
Either did mine.
No.
That was yeah. And I'm not a Lemon Shine user. I was using, because it seemed to have everywhere in my house citric acid, so that was easy to come by.
I wondered if you could just throw like Mountain Dew in there.
Who knows? I mean, why not just put Coca-Cola in there? I mean, that gets rid of rust and everything else, right?
Yeah, but I think if you put Coca-Cola in there, it might get rid of the brass. Where'd my brass go?
Yeah.
Raggle Fraggle said, it's a pretty rose gold color. Great if you want to make jewelry. Correct you are, sir.
Yep. Yeah, well, brass, you're right. I mean, a bucket, some Dawn dishwashing liquid, fill it up, put the brass in there, shake it around.
Shake it all around.
Yep. If you get a 5-gallon bucket, you can buy a lid for it and snap the lid on it and go to a big hill and roll it down the hill.
Mm-hmm.
So that would do it. What else? You can buy commercial case cleaner out there.
Yep. There's lots of different brands.
Yep.
So I mean, you could do that. You could buy the case cleaner and use that in your tub.
Yep.
So I mean, that's your basic cheapest. And then is, and basically, so once you shake it all about for however long you determine. So Lion's Garage says I use Dawn and a squirt of lemon juice. Basically the same thing.
Yeah.
So, basically for the most part, citric acid is just, dried lemon juice essentially.
Yeah.
But there's other process in the thing making that. But anyway, so once you shake it all about and the water gets all dirty and stuff, then you take the brass out. And what some people will do is they'll actually have a couple different tubs, because just because your water is dirty doesn't mean it's necessarily not any good anymore. Especially if you're using the cleaner solution.
Yep.
I mean, if you're using Dawn and Lemmy Shine or Lawn and lemon juice, yeah, gone down the toilet it goes. Have a nice day.
Right.
But if you're using some of the actual brass cleaner chemicals, you may not want to use that for just one and done.
No, in fact, I used it because I use the RCBS case cleaner in my ultrasonic, and when I get done with it, I drain it off. I let it sit, and if it sits for a couple of weeks, it separates. The junk goes to the bottom, and I can siphon off the top.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a couple of 5-gallon buckets, and I can keep switching it around.
There you go. So, Ed, we'll get to your question. So, Just so you know. We'll get to that later. But once you pull your brass out, then you want to put it in some clean cold water because you got to rinse your brass.
Big time.
Doesn't matter what cleaner you're using, even if it's just straight Dawn dish soap and water, you still have to rinse your brass. So now you're rinsing your brass until your water is clear. So you rinse it, drain it, put new water in, shake it around, drain it, put new water in. One of the things you're gonna wanna do, and you'll learn this the hard way, otherwise, is when you drain out your water, if you don't tip your brass is gonna have a lot of dirty water in it, and so you're gonna think you're done. And you're probably done, but then you dump all that dirty water out of the inside of the brass, and it looks like you're not done. So, so make sure you're dumping the water out. What some people will do is they'll actually take a colander. That's a sieve or a pasta strainer. Some people call them, and they'll actually dump the brass through that when they're draining out the water. And then, go again. So, what I would do is I would dump it through the strainer into a bucket, and then that way I can take the bucket and pour it down the toilet. So,
and there's other ways. I mean, Frankfurt Arsenal sells a rotating drum that will dump everything out. You can take two strainers, one on top of another colander is what they call them. Two colanders, put them together.
Pretend you're mining for gold.
Right. And dump them upside down, move them around and shake them. I mean, a plastic strainer is like $5 on Amazon. Two of them is $10. And
go to Goodwill or your local thrift store. You can usually pick them up for like $1.
Right.
Or garage sales. People sell them all the time.
Yep.
Because there's always a better one that's out there. Or, they got a stainless one and it starts to rust.
Yeah.
And so out in the garage sale it goes. Or down to down to Goodwill or our area. We've got St. Vincent de Paul, which is an offshoot of the, Catholic Church. And then we've got, a couple of thrift stores that support a couple of, we've got a Grace, which is a hospice end of life. And so they've got a couple of thrift stores that support them,
Yeah.
So wherever you're going, make sure you're paying attention to where the funds are going. So, I mean, some people only have Goodwill, so that's why I mentioned it. Otherwise, I generally don't support Goodwill because basically the funds go to Goodwill CEO.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So, that's one way to clean your brass. And then to dry it, we'll get into that because we still have a couple more ways to wet clean. So, but we'll take a second. Ed, your powder. All right. So first off, typically if it's not in the original container, I don't even worry about it. Okay. If it's not in the original container, and even the original container, there's not necessarily any guarantee that's exactly what the powder is, but there's a better chance. But if it's in a bottle with some masking tape on it and it's got a powder number written on it, it may not be.
Yeah.
So, so powder rusts, not all of it, but powder rusts, and it also starts to get a sulfury rotten egg smell. It'll turn color. So, I mean, that's a couple of the ones off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Any other ones?
The smell. The smell of the powder. It'll start to smell like rotten eggs.
Yep.
After a while.
Yeah.
So that's one that I would look at.
Yeah, I mean the smell's kind of the biggest one. So
yeah,
because essentially it does rot.
yes.
So yeah, Regal Fraggle, So M. Gabriel said miscellaneous mystery powder. Take your chances. Yeah, I mean, like I said, nope. It's fertile. JB is a big guy. Smell test or fertilizer. So M. Gabriel said the nitrates start separating out. Yeah, which is where you're going to get.
That's where you're going to get your smell.
That's why when your cat starts going, that's why you get your rotten egg smell.
Yeah. So, and then the condition of the powder. Look, if it starts to clump up and it's got big lumps in it, then it's gone.
Big lumps being anything larger than say a 177 pellet.
Yeah.
Because powder shouldn't clump at all.
No, it should run very well. Most of it's been covered with a graphite or some type of moly or something that helps it flow through meters. So, and there are deterrents that are put on it, so it shouldn't clump at all. If I have a teaspoon of powder and I got two lumps in it, it's gone. I mean, that's it. And I've used some powder that was really old. I mean, I had some pull down from, I think it was World War II. 4831. I bought 100 pounds of it, and it by keeping it in the naval container it came in, I was able to use it all the way to the end. But if it just came in a plastic bottle, it wouldn't have lasted anywhere near what it lasted in that naval container.
What I know some people with pull down powder have done, and I don't know if it affects it or not, but they've taken the little air, the moisture packets, the anti-moisture packets.
Desiccant, yeah.
Oh, Russ. And tossed it in with the powder. So I don't know if that makes a difference. I don't know if that helps or not, but so
desiccant is a double-edged sword.
Because it could make the powder too dry, I suppose.
Well, not only that, but think of it this way: it attracts moisture. Okay.
Yeah.
So as it sits there, and unless it's being manipulated, in other words, moved around and used, it's going to sit and draw the moisture out of the powder, and then it's going to sit with moisture in it, and it's going to seep a little. I mean, that's desiccant is designed to be able to absorb moisture and then give it up. So, we put desiccant packs in the oven and let them sit in the oven for 3 or 4 hours to dry them out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, if I had a nice dry storage area for my powder, some a dry basement where the temperature is going to be 65 degrees forever. Yeah, that's where I would keep it. Now I keep my powder in a 30 caliber, not 30 caliber, 30 millimeter ammo boxes that will hold 1 pound and 8-pound bottles of powder, and they have, if they have good seals on them, you have no problems. And I know people will say, "Oh, they're going to blow up. It's all going to blow up." Well, the military transports that stuff all over the place, and if it was going to blow up, it would blow up, I guess. But it's the boxes are designed to release the
those vent pressure,
right,
without shrapneling. So
right,
that's why
yeah,
they made them in the first place. So in
yeah,
case you do have ammo cook off, it will release the pressure, but not the ammo.
right.
So, M. Gabriel said double base because let's see here. Woodman asked, "Does it matter if it's double base powder?" And then M. Gabriel said double base will separate more since it has nitroglycerin in it. That's what starts to ooze out. If you want to see what that looks like, or at least as far as Hollywood thinks, watch the War Wagon. And yeah, by the way, actual honest to God, nitroglycerin based dynamite does do that. So
it weeps, yes, it weeps.
Yeah.
But
and yeah, it is very unstable, and the weeps will explode. By the way, so that part was accurate on the movie. Anyway, yeah. So M. Gabriel then says, "I hypothesize that storing in a vacuum sealed bag would actually accelerate separation." I don't know. That'd be an interesting study. I don't think I have any double base powder though. I do have a sealer.
I don't think you can draw enough vacuum in a sealer to do that. I mean, what can you get in a normal food saver sealer?
Yeah,
is not going to draw 32 pounds of vacuum. I mean, you're lucky if you can get 10 pounds of vacuum out of a food
I
saver.
suppose. So.
I don't think you're going to have much of a problem with vacuum sealing that. In fact, the Germans used to vacuum seal their 7.62 by 51 ammo in 100 round and 200 round bricks.
Yeah.
I think the Koreans did the same thing. So, I don't think you got a problem.
Yeah, those lovely battle packs.
Yep.
So, yeah. So, 6-pack project kind of backed up your thought of 30 inches of vacuum is only 14 pounds and change, about the highest vacuum you'll get on this planet. So,
right.
Alaska Ross 1 wants to know, can you dispose of old powder in a burn barrel? And
no, we do not dispose of it that way.
Russ, you're number 1. I give you the Wisconsin Highway salute. I blame the Detroit Red Wings season on you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We do not get rid of powder that way. If you want to get rid of powder, if you want to get rid of powder, it's fertilizer. Go take it out, spread it through your yard. Your yard will love you. Your tomatoes will love you. And, go from there.
Here's a question. Can you do the same thing with black powder, or do you have to worry about issues?
Black powder is issues.
How do you get rid of black powder then?
Wet it. wet it, get it wet.
Eventually it'll dry out.
Yeah, but you get it wet enough, it'll separate.
Aha.
It is more than one chemical. Remember that.
Yeah.
Black powder, all you got to do is just get it wet. Not just damp, but wet.
True.
Take a quarter pound to a gallon of water. Yeah. Okay. Swirl it around, let it, separate out, and then pour it down the out in the city street someplace.
Yeah. Yeah, because that stuff you don't want to burn.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't burn, it explodes.
Right.
So. Yeah. Six Pack Project said saltpeter will come out as lye. And then
Right.
M. Gabriel said sulfur and black powder.
It's all chemicals that mix together that in a combined form makes black powder.
Yeah.
Which is, which we all know is a real class. What is it? A class B explosive or class A?
I can't
remember.
Good question. I don't know if I want to Google that.
Yeah. But it's somewhere in there, and it's so much faster than smokeless powder is what the problem is. So that's the thing. Why am I always cleaning everything? So we're talking brass first.
Mm-hmm.
We got the chemical cleaners down.
We got the cheap.
We got the cheap stuff. Yeah. And after we get done, we're rinsing it. And we were talking about rinsing it and then taking colanders to shake all of it out and to repeat rinsing it 3 or 4 times and shaking it out every time. What do we do with it then?
Gotta dry it.
Oh, okay.
But before we cover that, let's cover 2 other ways to wet clean. So we kind of did, because we talked about the ultrasonic cleaner. So what you can get is what they call an ultrasonic cleaner. And what that does is it kind of vibrates the brass that's going to clean it again. So both of the methods we've talked about right now are not going to get your brass shiny. Okay. If you want to wet clean and you want to shine, you're going to want the third method, which is to tumble with stainless steel media. So that will get your brass clean and shiny. And you're still going to be you can still use the chemicals or the Dawn and Lemmy Shine, or some people just use straight water because the stainless steel is abrasive and it doesn't really need anything else to work with it. So there are magnets to separate out the media from the brass because brass is not magnetic, kids. Otherwise, some people dump it through sifters, and there's products that are out there for that. So, but whether you're using ultrasonic or the hand shaking or the stainless steel, you still have to rinse it all the way until it's clean. So once it's clean, now we need to dry this brass. We're creative. So we got lots of ways to dry this brass. The absolute easiest way, put it on a cookie sheet, put it out in the sun.
No, the easiest way is to take over the wife's oven.
No, that's not easy. Because that can get you in trouble and that can cause fights. Fights aren't easy. You put it on a cookie sheet out in the sun, That's easy. Nobody's harassing you.
My wife sits there and looks at you taking her cookie sheets and she gets upset.
If you put aluminum foil over it, she doesn't mind.
Oh, okay.
So,
That
hey,
works.
Raggle Fraggle, calm down. We'll get there. I don't think they would. I don't know if that would work. I don't think it would work. Maybe in stainless steel, but he said, Raggle Fraggle said, I have a buddy that uses car wax in his corncob media and it brings out a shine. He says, I want to try it as wet tumbler and see if it gets the same results. Wet tumbling with stainless steel media? It might. And Six Pack Project said to make it even easier, buy your own cookie sheet. It's like $6. Unless you go to your favorite thrift store, and then you can probably pick it up along with your calendar for like $1.50. You know, they'll cut you a deal. So anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So that's kind of the cheapest way, is out in the sun. Well, you know, if you're like me and Paul, you live up north, and well,
it don't work.
Can't do that in January because the water will freeze long before it evaporates. So then, you know, you got the wife's oven. What happens if you turn it up too hot, though?
Oh, well, you kind of do bad things to the brass, but
yeah,
I mean, you're talking 450, 500, okay?
Right. So you want it on warm.
Yeah. I mean,
On the
nothing
warm
over
setting.
2 1/4, nothing over 2 1/4, and you're fine.
Don't use your smoker. It doesn't work well. Don't use a barbecue grill or anything like that. Only an oven. Now they do make these fancy brass dryers that you can pay a crap ton of money for.
Yeah, but you know, you what about your local Goodwill store or whatever? Don't they have
for a dehydrator?
Oh, that's it. Yeah, dehydrators.
So we're gonna go back down to the thrift store where we got the cookie sheet and the calendar, and now we're gonna get a dehydrator because somebody thought that they were all sorts of all up on, you know, being green and, you know, making all their fun stuff, and with the baby, it's the grandbaby.
Yep, grandbaby. He's fussy tonight. Okay.
Oh, does he want Papa?
I don't know. I don't know yet. Not yet.
So yeah, we go back down to the thrift store. We get a dehydrator that was sold. Air fryer's too hot.
Yeah, air fryer gets way too hot. Yeah.
Ross burn barrels are too hot and too smoky.
Yeah. They put all that carbon back into the brass.
Yeah.
Don't work.
JB is the big guy, said use a timer. I can't tell you how many times I forgot about brass in the oven. Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So
well, if you're smart, what you do is most modern ovens have a cook time. Okay.
You can just
so you go in there and you set it
turns
in.
off by itself.
Right. Turns off by itself. You're all done. You know, it even reminds you because it'll beep at you.
Yep.
And you can, you know, tell the wife to take it out.
And air fryer would be too hot. So yeah, air fryer's out. Now here's another fun thing. Awesome. The Woodman, that's awesome that the Brewers are winning. I'm actually going to go take my mom to the game tomorrow. So I hope they play better because they sucked against the Tigers last night. Hey, Russ, you could use it for melting lead down. You can use it for melting your wheel weights down and putting them into ingots.
Well, you could cast bullets with it too.
Yeah, you could cast bullets with your burn barrel because back in Revolutionary War times, that's what they did, is they just melted the bullets over the campfire.
Yeah.
So campfire burn barrel, there you go. Now now you're able to use your burn barrel.
Yeah. So we got the Brewers winning.
Yep. Yeah,
And
I blessedly was at Bass Pro working last night, so I didn't have to watch the debacle. They got smoked by the Tigers 9-zip. Yeah. So unfortunately, the ATF page does not list what class
black powder is, huh?
Yeah, it just says it's a low explosive under 27 CFR 555-202.
Low yield, yeah. Okay.
So anyway,
Mm-hmm.
So the other thing you can do is you can use a clothes dryer.
I've heard of that one before. But you need
Couple ways.
you need an old pillowcase, don't you?
Well, you can use an old pillowcase.
Okay.
You can use a lingerie bag.
Oh.
You can use
Is that just for high end brass?
Yeah, you'd want to use your Lapu and stuff. Now, the nice thing about using your lingerie bags is the brass isn't actually getting tumbled. Because the way the lingerie bags are designed to use is they actually hang on the door. So what the correct way to use these things is, so you got your door and it shuts like this. So what you do is you put the brass on the inside of the door and then you hang the top of the bag over and you shut your door so the bag's hanging right against the door. So your drum's tumbling and it's moving the air all around, but it's not tumbling the brass.
Okay.
If you're using the pillowcase method, though, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put some towels in there.
Yes.
Already dried towels, because you want something to take up. You want something between that pillowcase and the brass and the drum, because you don't want to dent all of your pretty brass. So,
and gym shoes don't count.
No, that makes it worse.
Yeah.
Although that thump, 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 thump is kind of fun.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
Speaking of dryer, I got to switch laundry when I'm done. So, I mean, that's a few ways to do it. Now, the other way to clean your brass is vibratory tumble. There's a couple of different medias you can use. You can use corncob media. I use walnut. Walnut, I actually go. Well, you could use the pillowcase like a woman's underwear bag too, but I don't think you would get the airflow out of it is the problem. Because the women's underwear bag is really porous and designed to have airflow through it, where the pillowcase isn't. So that's why I don't think it would work as well. Six Pack Project. So, hi, Vanessa. She joins right as we're talking about women's underwear bags. Of course, she's been around this show long enough to know.
Yep.
So, yeah. So Six Pack Project, the lingerie bags allow a lot more airflow. So I don't think a pillowcase would allow as much airflow. It may work. I mean, it's definitely worth a shot. But if not, then throw the towels in, throw the pillowcase in, and you want to know how you keep the brass. You want to know how you keep the brass from coming out of the pillowcase? Well, there's various ways you can do that. You can use a zip tie, or you can use a rubber band, or you can just tie off the pillowcase, or you can use a twist tie, or
zip
you can
ties
use
work the best.
Flour sack instead of a pillowcase. So zip ties, generally work best.
Yeah.
So.
Because you can put 3 or 4 of them together. I mean, right next to each other, and really yank it hard with a pair of pliers. And
good point. Going anywhere. Like 3 or 4 pillowcases, yeah. Delicate Pleasantries bag. I like that. I like that name.
Yeah.
Well done, Vanessa. Yes, you can still find flour in sacks. Usually it's at the Amish places as opposed to paper bags. And unlike the grocery stores, it doesn't come with the flour weevils. Or take an old flat sheet. I suppose you could use a fitted sheet too. Place stuff on it and bunch it to make a sack. Actually, a fitted sheet would work better because you'd have all the elastic to really make sure that that doesn't pull through the zip tie. Ooh, there we go. Anyway.
Be interesting, yeah.
Yeah, it would be. So you can buy them sliced into rectangles. Otherwise, I use the Yep, pillows. Yeah, I've got flour sack towels still that I use for dishes and stuff, and they're great for cleaning glasses. But plum pudding is steamed while in a sack. Interesting. Never made plum pudding. I don't think my mom has either. Sounds like a lot of work. But so you can use corncob media, walnut media. Those are the two common ones. I'm sure somebody else has come up with some goofy stuff, but what I do with mine is I will take New Finish car polish, and I take a capful and mix it in with the walnut media. Now, I don't buy your standard walnut media that's specifically retailed for tumbling because that's expensive and that's silly. Instead, I go to the local pet store and buy the big bag of lizard bedding, which is dirt cheap. And I'm still in the same bag of lizard bedding for the last 7 years. So it lasts forever. Anyway. So yeah, lizard bedding. I found that walnut works a little better. But people say that the walnut's a little dustier. So I don't know. I haven't noticed. So
well, corncob media is formed and walnut is ground. I mean,
yeah.
you know, that's the thing. It's it's just a little bit difference between the two.
Yeah.
But
I'm shaking my head at Six Pack Project.
Yeah.
I'm not going to continue to read the. Yeah, you guys got to join the. You got to watch the video to see the chat. So
yes.
at 53 or at 52:50, I think is when his first comment was. Anyway, but yeah. So the nice thing about doing vibratory tumbling, no drying required. No. Although that is another way to dry your brass. Because I have taken it out of the ultrasonic cleaner and tossed it in the vibratory tumbler.
And let it run. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing though is that if you're adding New Finish or something like that, turn your vibratory
for 10 minutes before you put brass in it.
10 minutes before you put brass, yeah.
Otherwise, and you're going to more than likely.
Yeah, you get it inside the case or something, and it's wet, and it stays there. And
well, what I'll do after I run it for 10 minutes is I'll actually filter through and make sure it's not clumped because sometimes it will clump. So, Vanessa, I don't think pellets would work because I think they would crumble apart. She asked about wood pellets. Tommy Boy said he uses 3M Finesse-It and mineral spirits to keep the dust down.
Okay.
So, what some people do for the dust is they will actually take ye old dryer sheet and toss it in there and let it run for a bit. A couple of them in there and then let it run, and then the dryer sheet will actually suck the dust, and you can pull the dryer sheets out. So
the other way you can do it is on a slightly windy day. Take your tub of media over one bucket and pour it, and
into another bucket.
Into another bucket, and most of the dust blows off.
Yep.
So That's another way of doing things.
Yes. Yep, definitely. So.
Yep.
Regal Fraggle said, Regal said, what about tool cleaning media from Harbor Freight? I'm not sure. I guess I'd have to see it. I will be right back, though.
Okay. I have never used tool cleaning media from Harbor Freight. I've never used it. Ceramic rock media is pretty abrasive. So it's pretty mean stuff as far as um, getting there and trying to use that. There are some ceramic pellets that have been on the market that have abrasive on there that have been tried. Again, size matters, and too big and they get too rough and put a lot of scratches in cases. Brass is a little soft for that kind of stuff. Cap full of mineral spirits takes all the dust away. It doesn't take it away, Tommy. It just holds it into the walnut shells, and it will come out of the walnut shells, and it acts as an abrasive too. So it'll keep your walnuts a little more effective, but it will turn back to dust after a while.
Sorry about that. I realized I had left the doggy door open still, and it's getting dark.
Oh, okay.
And after dark, we have owls that fly around.
Oh, I thought you would have some black masked bandits that like to come in.
Well, that'd be fun.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that would be fun to have happen.
You got collars for the pups?
Yeah, they're all collared.
They're
all
no,
tipped.
to go in and out through the door.
No, I didn't buy the fancy one.
Ah, okay.
I should have, but I didn't. So
you sit up at night with your 416 and wait for Rocky Raccoon to come through?
No, not anymore.
No, not anymore. Okay.
Mm-mm. Yeah, Vanessa, that's one of the concerns I have. Is there's 3 pine trees right outside the house, and we've got one that likes to hang out in there a bit. So is a large owl. So
I got an owl by here, but he doesn't seem to want to bother the dog any.
well, my wife's got we've got Gracie and Ollie, which I'm not extremely worried about.
Yeah.
But Remy, the little one, would be perfect owl food. So I don't have to worry about yotes.
I worry about coyotes. That's all.
That I don't have to because as much I should say, because I have a fence.
Oh, I have a fence too, but it doesn't. I mean, I've seen coyotes go over a 5-foot fence without a problem.
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah.
But if they're presented with, well, the neighbor across the street has free range chickens.
Uh-huh. Oh, that's even better. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. I don't have to be concerned with coyotes.
Yeah.
So
yeah, free range chickens are snack on the foot there. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they've had problems with raccoons and coyotes, and I don't think they believe in guns because they throw firecrackers at them. I'm like, I'll come over and shoot them for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. The beagle likes to bark at the coyotes and then mad dash through the doggy door. Well, of course.
Yeah.
Beagle's not dumb. All right, Larry. Larry Fish. He's a newbie. Or so he proclaims. He said, so is it okay to have the brass spread out in front of a heater on a towel with constant air movement drying? I constantly moved brass around and did about 3 hours dry time. Yes, that's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're doing fine there, sir. That's if you're
Yep,
going to do
that's a
that.
good idea.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The towel helps a lot. And,
Yeah.
you can bunch it all up and shake it out and lay it down and let it sit for 10, 15 minutes, shake it again. And, that's as you get the water out every time you shake it. And eventually it'll all dry out and you'll be okay. And like you say, 3 hours and you're in good shape.
Yep. Jerry Jester asked a question. He said, can Hornady one-shot lube be used as a release agent? I guess it depends on what you're...
If you're talking epoxy, yeah, you can use one shot as a release agent for epoxy. Not a problem. You can also use shoe polish. You can use Johnson paste wax.
J-Wax.
Yep. Lots of things can be used as a release agent from epoxy type glues. So yeah, not a problem. That's expensive, Vanessa, to use olive oil as a release agent for making concrete forms. That's expensive. You can go out and buy release agent that's a lot cheaper than olive oil, especially that double virgin olive oil that's out there. That gets really, really expensive. $17, $18 for a little quart.
Yeah, that would be kind of pricey.
Yeah.
But I suppose.
But like most things, once the surface is covered with it with a release agent, it should have no problem letting go. And if you have a problem with any of it letting go, put it in the freezer. Just put the whole rifle or whatever in the freezer and leave it in for 8-10 hours and pull it out, tap it with a rubber mallet, and it'll fall right apart. And it's a good reason why you have a chest freezer, to have a fresh chest freezer. So
There you go.
yep.
I thought it was just to hide the bodies.
Well, you can do that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to have to figure out somewhere else to put them. Dang it.
Yeah.
So. So yeah. All right. So we've kind of covered the brass cleaning.
Right.
What else do we need to clean?
Well, just about everything.
Exactly.
I mean,
Our
name
bench,
something that doesn't have to be cleaned. I mean,
my
um,
mouth.
well, I mean,
Oh, wait a minute. My mom says yes.
yeah, um, you know, first off, other than Vanessa and a few other females here, that the average mind of the male viewers here could use a good Clorox
I did not
and
say anything about mines because I know better.
yeah, Clorox and steel wool to fix most of them. But okay, um,
So our benches, obviously.
oh yeah, we got to clean our
Okay.
bench. But and anything that touches the bench has got to be cleaned.
Yep.
So um, we'd have to start with. I would start with dyes first.
Yep.
You know,
Let's.
um, I would start with them first. Dyes your press. Um, boy, all the presses seem to get um, primer residue on them. The dyes get primer residue. Um, Buildup of
Powder residue, primer,
powder,
dirt, and just regular
everything,
dust and.
and lube and everything else all builds up inside of them.
Mm-hmm.
And the next thing you know, you're scratching brass and you're wondering what's going on.
Yep.
So you had dyes and press. How would you clean your dyes?
Brake cleaner.
Okay, so brake cleaner type or carburetor cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
That's an easy one.
gun scrubber.
Yep.
Okay, um, ultrasonic cleaner.
Yep. You could toss them in there.
Okay,
You could toss them. The dyes. You could probably toss in your vibratory cleaner too, if you really wanted to.
yeah, you take them apart first, though, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't
So
want to throw them in there whole. That'd be a mess.
yeah, they get things that get jammed up inside of it and everything with the decapping rods and everything else there.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, so we could throw them in there with our stainless steel pins, our Dawn dishwashing liquid, and a little lemon shine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't know if I. Well, actually, I don't know if I'd put the lemon shine in there. I don't think you really need it for the
Okay.
dyes and stuff. The Dawn would be enough because you want a degreaser.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you could also use Simple Green, and
There you
so
go. Yeah.
um, that'd be another one good use. So
Mostly you're looking for a cleaner that has um,
degreaser.
a surfactant in it that lifts the grease and everything in it
Hmm.
and floats it away. Okay.
Um, trying to think of other ways to. I mean, for your presses, you're kind of just your presses. You're kind of just spraying them down, wiping them down. You're not. It's nothing you're going to be like soaking or anything like that. So,
Yeah, I think the
um,
presses work better with your gun scrubber, carburetor cleaner, brake cleaner type
mhm.
deal. Or Anybody got a parts washer in their garage?
Yeah, that you could
works.
do.
Yeah. I didn't know that Simple Green or Purple Power would eat through a metal can, Raggle Fraggle. That's an interesting one.
Wow. That is.
Uh-huh. And I'm going to tell you, it's important to keep your press and RAM and that clean.
Absolutely.
As somebody who's gone through 2 RCBS rack chuckers, yeah, keeping it clean helps it last longer.
Yep.
Parts
Yeah.
washer, kerosene. Okay, yeah, kerosene works. That's a good
Kerosene
solvent.
works really well.
Diesel's a good solvent.
I don't know necessarily like the smell, but
Yeah, well, I'm just
it's not
saying
too
that
bad,
there's
yeah.
good solvents.
Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, they both work really well.
Yep.
So,
Yes, the surfactant is very critical in the 20,000 gallon mixed tank of starch. Yes. Uh-huh.
starchy foam.
Mm-hmm.
Oops. So, I don't even want to know what she was working on with that. That sounds like a giant mess, though. So,
20,000 gallons? Yeah.
just a bit. So,
Yeah.
Running with Scissors says they've been using a separate press to decap, so that makes it a lot easier. So,
Mm-hmm.
6 feet of foam.
That's with the starch, with the surfactant, because it's
You could use that to have one of those foam parties that the kids
yeah.
all like having. Should have marketed that there. By the way, don't mind the snoring if you hear it. That's just my dog. So, anyway, um, yeah. So presses, cleaning the excess powder off, and um,
Yeah, it's
oh, paper run. Okay, making paper. That makes sense then.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you've got where your powder is. You've got anywhere you're decapping, where the primers come out. That's going to be really dirty. And just collecting dust, especially if you don't have if you don't constantly keep it covered. So
Yeah. I mean,
a
I
lot of
don't
stuff
keep
collects dust.
anything that's got lube on it collects dust.
Yep.
So, oil, grease, lube,
Which if you
whatever.
which if you think about it was why Pledge is such a good racket.
Right. Yeah. Because it's a magnet to dust. You spray it down, wipe it up, and 5 seconds later, there's a layer of dust on top of it. Yep.
Yep. 3-in-1 oil for rust protection. Otherwise, just some straight. As far as lubing your rams when you're putting it back together and cleaning it, motor oil. Lee for the longest time was recommending straight 30 weight.
Um.
I mean, there's other stuff you can get nowadays, but 30 weight was or 1030 or
My Summit press has a grease zerk fitting for it.
there you go.
So,
Hornadays do too.
So it's important that you keep a grease gun around. Dylan recommends to keep a grease gun with a needle tip on it. So yeah, there's a lot of lubrication points that are on the presses that we have to keep up with.
Yep.
And the only way you can
All
do
your
that.
pivots.
The only way you can do that is by cleaning them first and then lubing them. Because just adding more lube to a dirty joint is just giving it some more floating for the abrasives to stay in there. So yeah. So a parts washer, ultrasonic cleaner, a bucket with soap and water, some chemicals. What about vinegar? Vinegar is acidic.
Yeah.
Do you think it would help? I mean, I know it works to clean windows.
I don't know, honestly.
I wonder.
It might.
So,
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know on that. Oh, so 6-pack project said it'll etch the steel of the dies.
Okay. All right. Acid will etch. Yeah, that's true. Just usually vinegar is pretty weak as far as an acid. It's not like I'm using hydrochloric or muriatic.
Yeah, Regal Fraggle said it doesn't do anything for the grease. So
yeah,
which I can see. So
all right.
So we've got our presses and we've got our dies.
Right.
You've got all your tools that you use.
Yeah.
I mean, all your tools need to be cleaned. So anything you're using for trimming brass is going to have brass shavings on it. You got to clean that all up. What you're probably gonna, what's probably a good idea to do with that is get yourself one of those keyboard cleaning kits that they have for attaching to your vacuum, and then you can use that to vacuum the brass up.
Yeah.
It's usually got a little dusting brush and stuff like that, and you can use that. And you could also use that for sucking up the powder. However, if you're going to use your vacuum cleaner for sucking up gunpowder, you want to make sure that it is not going to be sucking the powder through the motor.
Right.
Like I have a Shark, so literally, it goes straight from the hose straight into the dust containment container.
Okay.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. So I can use that safely for.
Yeah.
You're not going to use your grandpa's Kirby, because it goes right through the fan. Ask me how I know.
How do you know?
Because you don't want to suck up pennies with a Kirby.
Okay.
Yeah. It's very bad. Because those little lovely fan blades that all the dirt goes through, they don't like pennies.
Okay. And I guess primers would make it even funner.
Well, I mean, primers blow up, but pennies snap the blades off. So, I don't know on the Dyson or not. You'd have to look and see. And you don't want to use the beater bar to suck stuff up. Only the hose.
What I have found is I take a wool hunting sock and my shop vac. I
put the sock over the end of the hose.
Right.
Not primers.
It gets sucked in. Everything gets sucked in. It all gets picked up. Gets this into the hunting sock, which gets long, and then I can sit down and decide what I'm going to do with it.
Yeah.
And plus,
here's a question for you.
Yeah.
How do you figure out which primers are which?
I don't even bother. If I suck something up, it goes.
Okay.
It goes. If I know if I know what they are, they're going back in their little what do you call it, little tray.
Yeah. But say you drop some primers, and while you're picking those primers up, you find some other primers that maybe you missed, in your 70s shag carpet.
Yeah.
What do you do with those primers?
Junk it. If
Okay.
if I got something that I don't know what it is, junk it. I got around to I'm thinking about refinishing the floor in my reloading room in Indiana.
Yeah.
And if I have time, I'm gonna take everything out, bring a surfacer in, surface the concrete, and then epoxy it.
Nice.
And once I get
the
done
drawback to that, it's cold, but it's definitely looks nice.
Yeah, but the thing is that I want to take all the edges away that where the primers can hide.
Yep.
So edge of the carpet, all that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
and
exactly. Primers are too expensive to lose.
Right. Yeah. And the one thing I wish they would do is when I go to empty the powder measures out, if they would make a mechanical alarm if it starts going off the wrong way. In other words, some of the powder measures and that have a side or front mounted or back mounted place to drain powder from.
Yeah.
And you forget to turn it off when you emptied it out last time, and you go to fill it, you watch in the back of it or the side, and all of a sudden you have a half a pound of powder that is sitting on your workbench. Not good. Not good. So you have to clean that up. So I sit down and say it is a good idea to have a shop vac in your reloading room if you can, if you can swing it. If you can't do a 5-gallon one or bigger, you can go to Lowe's and get a little Sears 2.5-gallon job that works really nice. Or if you got money, you can buy one of the Milwaukee ones that looks like a toolbox that you can use batteries on, and it's nice to be able to drag around without the cord. The other thing that I would say that I would like to have in my shop is a California air compressor.
Yeah, you were telling me Ken got one and they're really quiet.
56 decibels. I mean, you don't even hear it running. I mean, it's louder talking to somebody. When you talk to somebody, you're in the 60 to 80 decibel range, and it you don't even hear the thing run. It runs for 5 minutes and it's full. It's only a gallon and a half tank in it, but having that little blast of air is nice. I mean, you can think of a million things to do with it, and cleaning is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
What do we do with it? I got to tell you, I mean, not every one of us has a perfectly clean wall, where we are loading from. You
Yeah.
know, we get dust bunnies and spider webs and all that kind of stuff all over. Yeah, we have to let's blow it off and work with it. So that's cleaning something there. But everything on our bench needs to be clean. Our bench needs to be clean.
Mm-hmm.
You have a metal bench, don't you, Mike?
No.
No. Okay, it's wood.
Yep.
Okay. I have a wood bench and I epoxy coated it. I did that so I can easily clean up the the bench to where nothing gets ground in or anything like that into it. So um, it makes it easier to clean.
Yeah.
Now, if I can keep the tools where they belong, that would be even better. And I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I went to Harbor Freight and I got one of their general toolboxes. You know, one of them roll around ones.
Yeah.
And going to start organizing it and getting the tools that I need into it so I can just reach and get them and have a place where they go back.
Yeah.
And that's part of cleaning, getting,
That's the biggest thing about cleaning is having a spot to put everything. So
yeah, exactly.
having it organized so there is a spot to put everything. Because if you don't have the spot,
I'm good with my Dillon 550. I got a lot of holders for my tool heads, but I still have a lot of dies that need to really get a good home, and I haven't figured out that yet. So
you could build you something like Travis Buck had. So
okay, yeah. I was looking at Inline Fabrications die holders, and they looked interesting. There's some 3D printed ones that are out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's
and we definitely got a good 3D printing community. So
yes, we do. We have,
and at some point in time, I'll get my printer running again.
Nagy and Tom in there helping everybody through their 3D printing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely. So.
But along with cleaning is organization, guys, and that's the biggest thing. I mean, getting everything organized to where you want it and what you're doing is a big part of it. That's you know what else needs to be clean, guys? How many out there are using a beam scale?
I am.
Okay. Beam scales, how do they work?
They balance.
Right. But in order to get them to balance, what do they ride on a knife and a jewel?
Yep. And if it's not clean?
And if it's not cleaned, it don't work. Yes, alcohol is good to clean a lot of things with, Woodsman. You can clean your scope lenses with alcohol. You can clean your binoculars with alcohol. You can clean your barrels before you go shooting with them in order to get the oil out. You can, you can clean, just about anything with alcohol. Denatured alcohol, I buy the gallon and keep it around so I can do things like that. But again, you got to be careful with it because, if you're an imbiber of tobacco, it can cause you a burn or something if you're not careful.
Yep.
Alaska Ruth, yes, alcohol will clean your liver out, and you, especially denatured alcohol, which is, really good for you.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about Patriot Patch Company for a second. And while we're doing that, I'm going to show off the new patch of the month. So we've got April. So Jim showed this off already, so I'm just showing it off again. So this is the patch of the month. When you're a Patch of the Month Club member, you get the sticker and the vinyl, or the vinyl sticker, and then the patch, and you also get Ryan's awesome drawing. So, and there's a different theme every month. Ryan also does stuff like this, as Jim showed last week. There's another sticker. There's all sorts of different patches and stuff. Make sure you swing over to patriotpatch.co, check them out. And if you're looking for camouflage for fun or, for actual practical use, swing over to camerado.com, check out what Sean's got going on, and use coupon code RELOAD for 5% discount at checkout. So.
Yeah, he's got some nice Hawaiian shirts that are really good camouflage.
Yeah, I got to figure out where I put mine. I don't know where it went when I moved stuff out here, so. Because I always kept it by the desk so I could wear it during the show, but I don't know where it went. I'll figure it out. Anyway, so, everybody's got their own little tips and tricks. Feel free to share them, specifically on Discord if you're a member of Discord. Otherwise, we've got other formats you can do it too. So, it's fun to kind of share your tips and tricks because, you may have done something that somebody else didn't think of, and somebody else has done something that you didn't think of. So.
That's true. Odor, you just cleaning your throat with it? Okay.
Yeah, throat, esophagus, and then
he does. He's from Iceland. They do that fire breathing thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I saw I was scrolling through Instagram and there was a female trap shooter from Iceland. I saw on Instagram the other day. So, but I don't remember who it was, so I can't ask Odor if he knows her. But Iceland's not as small as everybody thinks it is, so it's not like everybody knows everybody.
I thought everybody knew everybody in Iceland.
No, but technically, I think they figured out that almost everybody in Iceland is actually related.
Ah, okay.
Going back to like the 15th century. So it was stuff you missed in history class. They did an episode on it. I don't remember the details on it, but or a certain percentage of them are all related to one person. So it's not like, it's not like they're first and second cousins and stuff like this. You're talking like, I mean, technically, technically we're all related because we're all from Adam and Eve,
Yeah.
So whatever. But anyway,
Otis says it's not true. Okay. We believe you, sir.
Okay.
You ever get that new barrel loader? Get a gunsmith for him.
I was trying to figure out something, but not yet. Sad odor. But well, trying to think if there's any other, super tricks that I have off the top of my head. No, not really. So
we all know about barrel cleaning and all that kind of stuff, right? And we bomb that one to death.
Yeah, I mean, we'll go back into that at some point in time. But
yeah.
One thing for cleaning up powder is if you go to like your camping store or even your Walmart, they've got the little actually, do I have mine? Yes, I do. So they've got the little broom and dustpan for like using your tent. These work great for sweeping up powder. No, you can't put it back in the bottle. Well, I suppose you could, but that'd be stupid.
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah. Anything else, guys? Anything else?
No, that's I think that's about it.
Okay. Don't forget to visit our our merch site, guys. Gotta get your t-shirts.
Yes.
You gotta get your hoodies, your drinks, your drink holders, your koozies, all that fun stuff that helps support the show.
Yeah. Also, you can become a Patreon. If you head over to our page, which is firearmsradio.net/categories/reloading-podcast 2. There's a link to take you over to Southern Gales Crafts for our t-shirts and stuff. There's also a link there for support the show. There's also links for Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and MeWe. I've got to get Rumble put up on there. Discord is purposely not on there. If you want the Discord link, you got to email us, reloadingpodcast@gmail.com. So, and if you want, you can send us a text, 608-467-0308, or you can leave us a voicemail there too. So thanks to everybody who listens, tunes in. Everybody have a great Easter. Those of you who celebrate the real reason, you know who you are and you know what you're doing. Those of you who celebrate Easter commercially, you do you. Everybody has their own beliefs, and I'm not of the premise that it's my job to cram my beliefs down everybody else's throat. So it honestly does not say that anywhere in the New Testament. It says go and share the good news, but it does not say cram it down people's throats. So if anybody wants to know about it, I'll happily tell them, but I'm not going to, stand and preach. So everybody have a great week, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Have a good night.
Good night,
Oh,
all.
you know what? We forgot a couple of things.
Yeah, I know.
First off, keep your brass shiny.
Grandpa told me, don't listen to your mama. Violence does solve problems.
Make sure you're supporting the Second Amendment. Whether it's calling, writing letters, if that's all you can do, or supporting organizations, getting involved, volunteering, however it is. Make sure you're getting involved. They just had boards elections for the NRA. John Richardson made it on, so at least there's one person. I don't know anybody else that made it because I haven't seen all the results. But John did post that he made it on there. John's been a podcaster for quite some time, and he is one of the good guys that is definitely about fixing the NRA. So, like I said, and I keep saying, if you're a life member of the NRA or you're a current member of the NRA, it is your NRA. You need to fight for it. So that means you need to be calling and writing, and more importantly, you need to be telling you you're not giving them a damn dime until it's fixed. So what does it look like when it's fixed? I don't know. Preferably a smaller board that actually does things and actually does their job with oversight, and you don't get things like where Wayne is running amok like he did for years. Back to doing the programs they're supposed to be doing, your firearm safety, your education, your training programs, that type of thing. I guess that's kind of the start. But transparency is the big thing, kids. That organization needs to be crystal clear, transparent. And until that happens, I'm not giving them a dime. And I know a lot of people aren't. So, as much as a lot of people want it to go away, unfortunately, we need it because it is the 800-pound gorilla, and it does have a lot of pull when it comes to. But we need it to be fixed, and we need it to be doing what it should be doing, not what Wayne and his cronies were doing, which was kind of okay stuff and doing a lot of this for that and not really standing up for gun rights. So, but thank God there's groups like GOA and FPC and NAGR and SAF out there that are fighting. And if I forgot one that you support, by all means, let me know. But that are out there, hauling people into court until we can get elections fixed. So we're electing the correct people. Unfortunately, we're stuck dealing with courts, gang. And that's the bad part. And it doesn't look like the Supremes do want to take either of the cases that we were hoping they would. So they keep tabling them and tabling them and tabling them. So kind of looks like they're just kicking the can down the road. So
they did that with the abortion case too. They did that for a long time until they finally took it. But it's years before they took it. And the case was continually being rolled down and put aside.
Yeah.
Not dismissed, but yeah, we're going to review it. We're going to review it. But that hurts, guys. That means, all these lawyers still have to get paid for what they're doing.
It's costing more and more and more money. And the worst part is you've got states out there. Look at what Colorado just passed and signed into law.
Oh,
that's absolutely in violation of the Second Amendment, but they did it anyway. Yeah, so now we've got to haul them into court. So it's just more and more.
They're like Hawaii. They're above the Constitution.
Yep. So
we don't, like Hawaii says, we don't believe in that. We're the Aloha state. course, you got Illinois that feels exactly the same way. We don't care. New York says the same thing. New Jersey, all that stuff on the East and West Coast. So,
yep. So, but more importantly, if you're struggling, 988 or 1-800-273-8255. If you fought through today, that means you can fight through tomorrow, but you just might need some extra help to do it. So reach out and give a call. I guarantee you there's people that want you here more than people that want you gone.
We all want you here.
Yeah.
All of us here.
Yep.
Want you to come back.
Absolutely. So 988 or 1-800-273-8255. Reach out and get some help. Start fighting, start getting extra help in the fight. So call in the reinforcements.
And guys, if you can help, if you can spend an hour a month at the vet, the VA home,
yep.
Go there. Spend a little bit of time.
Talk with people, play games, play cards,
Right. A lot of times, all they want to do is talk to somebody. Have some communications with the real world. So, talk to the people at the VA. Talk to your local crisis line where you can go to help and volunteer. An hour a month. That's all. 12 hours a year. God, that's that's a tough one to save somebody's life. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much, and good night.
Good night.